All right, hello. Can you hear me? Yeah? All right. Wow. Okay, I need to have a little bit of relief because I got emotional a little bit after this beautiful presentation. So I'm going to probably talk about more shallow stuff, but I feel like this is a place where I belong and where I feel very good. So yeah, if you would like to communicate with me, just raise your hand and say something because whenever I give a presentation, so feel free to come to me and talk to me. I love talking to people. I hope that I'll be still on schedule because, yeah, I love to talk. So creative freedom. And I was thinking about the title of this presentation, and talking about freedom is a very important part of me. Maybe not my job, because I'm technically a technical person. So I'm a DevRel, developer relations engineer. I work uh, closely with Tezos blockchain, but as Will said, I work with Etherlink, that is EVM compatible layer 2 on Tezos. So yeah, I'm an Instagram person. If you try to connect with me on X, I will still reply maybe after a few days. So yeah, feel free to do it. The website is in Polish, so because I'm from Poland. So yeah, I came here to talk about freedom, and this whole decentralized world is, for me, when I joined Web3, it was really confusing, and why it's all complicated, why the user experience and yeah, it was very overwhelming for me because I come from the Web2 engineering. So, but then I figured out that okay, every single part of communities, they need to find a home. And for me, the most difficult part of it was to understand why art found a home on blockchain. Yeah, if you call me an artist, probably I'm not an artist, but this is like my vision of home, and home for art. And apparently, I figured out that yes, a lot of artists found a home for their art on blockchain. And from my perspective, from my experience, yes, Tezos L1 was luring artists and still does from all over the world. And probably some of you already got some experience with Tezos L1. Then we minted, you probably shared, and Tezos is also showcasing some of the artworks. But yeah, and by the way, a little plug, shameless plug. On Saturday we have a Art on Tezos event. If you want to join, please come to me, we'll talk. So if I imagine blockchain, it's going to be like a long chain of blocks, because why not? That's how I explain blockchain to people. So if we think about L1, the centralized aspect of it is just a chain. It's a network of nodes run by bakers. And actually, we have some bakers here in the audience, so big shout out to people that keep the chain secure. But we don't stop there, and that's the reason why I'm here. Because L1 is always evolving, but we also introduce new elements to the ecosystem, and now we're open to Ethereum ecosystem, and Etherlink, that I'm proudly representing here, is EVM compatible L2 on Tezos. So yes, if you have experience with EVM, if you want to build something that is using the tooling around EVM, this is the place to go, to be. But this is the whole technical part of it that seemed to be quite, let's say, complicated. But let's talk about creating, because I draw all of this and I spent a little bit of time on it. So I still don't know if I can call myself an artist, but I know about creation. I used to create software. That's also a big part of my life. So can you tell me, like, why do we create? Why we need why we need to create. Like, I draw when I travel from my office to my home. It takes 2 hours one way. And just to get myself focused or connected to the world, I draw. So sometimes I have something to say. I want to say something. I want to say something worth sharing. Sometimes I just need to do it. I have the urge to create something. But also, what I've learned yesterday, because I updated this, yeah? We create to survive. And I know what it means to be in the survival mode. And surviving is something that is very limiting, but still encouraging you to create and live in full. Because you have a hunger, you have something to say, you have something to change. And I think creating is bringing that freedom to people in survival mode. So what do we need to create? And probably, we all have different answers. I would say I would love to have time. It's very, very precious to me. But I think we need also fun. We need inspiration. We need knowledge and skills. Sometimes it's soft skills, sometimes it's hard skills. But we're going to talk about it later. We need materials, we need space, but we also need tools and platforms. Because, yes, digital world. And actually, I wanted to quote. It's also learning from yesterday by Franco Berardi. Digital art does not simply reproduce reality. It produces new perceptual land spaces, new sensibilities, new forms of subjectivity. And we need a good home for art. And it doesn't really matter which chain, how we want to do it. We want to have a space, but also the connection between people that is extremely important in this part. So, and the aspect that we probably don't really talk about that much, because we also need money. And this is like, if I imagine my perfect life, I would say I'm gonna live in the middle of nowhere, plant I get inspired by yesterday meeting. I can afford my food. I can just sit down, listen to the forest, and just create something that I love. But it won't feed me. I will definitely won't be able to survive just looking at the forest and listening to the birds. We need to work. We need to do stuff. So, okay, the freedom. I already mentioned the freedom. So I think without freedom, even if you're in survivor mode, you need the freedom to experiment, to fail, to try again. You need to feel safe to keep on going. And that's what motivates every creator. So the freedom to create, to distribute, and to monetize. Because yes, we need money. We all need money. That's the whole point. So let's think about the reality now. Let's think about the reality of creators worldwide. So what we need, what we do. We craft meaning. We design emotion. Like we saw all those beautiful people on the scene like a minute before, and I was like, don't get too emotional. We have a talk in a second. It's fine. You can handle this. So we shape the culture, and the culture is extremely important. And we can give like any tech that you want. You can imagine XYZ. We'll give it to you. But without the culture, tech will be just tech, full stop. And we also invade the new ways of experience the world, digital world. So the culture is extremely important, and to develop culture, it takes years. So I think we're in a good place to invite more people to the ecosystem, because this is the truth that I've learned recently, that in Web3, building something is not enough. Creating is only just the very first step. And this is unfortunate because you think like, okay, I'm going to be a creator, I'm going to be an artist, I'm going to be a person that will give something to the world, but no one will see it. Yeah, no one will be able to get the joy from it. So if you are a creator in our scene, I think the creation part is, yes, it is a very first step, because to succeed, you need to be everything. You need to do a lot of things, like building the audience, telling your story, engaging with your community, design your microeconomy, shipping consistently. You need to keep engaging with people and just keep going. And create your work, create your art, uh, create your stuff technically, because I'm not very limiting people to, okay, just paint or just draw something, because like when I saw all the elements of the exhibition, it was mind-blowing how creative we are as human beings. So we need to just keep on going. But how we keep on going? I think it's a huge challenge for a creator these days, because you need to be everything. You need to be entrepreneur. You need to be a community leader. You need to be a designer. You need to design your product. Probably you're the product yourself as well sometimes. You need to be a marketer, architect, storyteller, and also an engineer sometimes. But also a tool maker. And the experience from yesterday, when I saw a very beginning of something that can be a great tool, a great platform, or a great just showcase for something deeper, a deeper connection between people, and it's all coded. That's amazing. This is like the art of code. It's beautiful. So I think creative freedom should not be a luxury. You should have it. You should be able to create whatever you want, however you want, because of the infrastructure that is given to you, full stop, no limits. So that's the reason why we encourage people to create an experiment, a social experiments, real-time create aspects, build collectibles with real utility. Yeah, grow your community, be able to communicate with them without any sort of limitation of chain aspects or any other limitation. So form your communities, grow your economies, store your legacy, and own your work. Be free forever. So that's me. Thank you for having me. Yes, I think I have a lot of time still, so maybe you have questions, or you can engage with me after the talk.
Hi, Beata. Hi. So I found this idea very interesting, that creative freedom is infrastructure.
Yes.
So I wonder how, from protocols and whatnot, how can we work towards, guaranteeing, like we are creating systems that make this creative freedom actually infrastructure.
Yes, so I think we need to start on a protocol level and on the very, very beginning of any sort of action. So if we imagine, I can only talk about the experience I have with Tezos, that is fully decentralized because of the amazing community of people running their validators. And that's where it starts, yeah? But we cannot limit ourselves. And when you create your software, and when you create your application, anything that is related either to community or any sort of interaction with your user, you need to have that flexibility in mind to evolve, because Tezos was made to evolve, and we have those upgrades, etc., etc. And it creates a lot of friction, technically, yes? It can create a lot of friction, but this is the cost of evolution. So you need to be able to evolve with the tech. You need to be ready for it. You need to be flexible, but still keeping your creation alive while keeping the evolution going. So I think it's just you need to build for the future. That's the main, I think, option here.
Thank you.
All right.
Hi.
Hi.
Maybe one question about, obviously Tezos has like a huge history of like art. You are now working at Etherlink, obviously they're intertwined. But how do you see the difference of releasing art on Etherlink, maybe like it being able to like dive deep into like the EVM community, the ETH community, compared to like releasing art on Tezos?
Yeah, so it's a great question because internally we think about, okay, so how can we grow the community for Etherlink? Because I think it's a vibe aspect, yeah? So Tezos built up their community significantly over the years with kind of like a niche around art, and it's going to stay like this. It's not changing. Etherlink is mainly for collectibles, for games, for more experience that is open to EVM community and ecosystem because it's more, let's say, widely adopted. And I don't think that art on Etherlink will be huge because art probably will stay on L1 and Etherlink will be more for collectibles, more fun stuff, more, let's say, degen. But we're still open to any sort of option. It's not that, okay, all the artists will stay on L1 and fun people will go elsewhere. No. It's not that kind of like categorizing users. I think it's with L1, it's the experience, it's the niche, it's something that probably you know better than I am, and than I do. So, but with Etherlink, it's more, let's say, degen and live collaboration, things like this. I think it's, yeah, we're going to stay true to the values that we have, but just inviting people to work and build on Etherlink as well. Yes, a gentleman in a hat.
Thank you, thank you. Well, Beata, first of all, thank you very much for coming over here to share your knowledge. It's amazing to have you here. I know you are coming from the other part of the world, so I really appreciate your time and your effort to share everything here. Beautiful. And I have a technical question, so because you are a technical person, so
Yes.
when it comes to art, for me, it's like, well, art is timeless. You know, art is forever. That's what art is, and also creators and collectors like me say. Um, in the case of Tesos, when I see art in the blockchain as a Web3 person, I want the art to be forever as well. But there is a problem that I always see on blockchains, which is the fork possibility of chains when it comes to upgrading and things like that. And one thing that I like about Tesos is that it's like a forkless chain, which is going to be the same forever, basically, because of on-chain governance. So for art to be on the same chain and not have these chain splits, how important it is for you that you have this vision in terms of art?
Yeah, it's very important because recently I visited France and we went for a little trip to one of the palaces there. And I was like, oh my God, it's a boring trip to see some palace and like rich people from the past. And then I saw the gallery and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to stay here for forever. And my Eurostar will just leave without me. And then I think, all right, so all the artwork that was like technically physically painted is still there and it's going to be there, hopefully, yes. But what about the digital world? What about the art that we create? And I think blockchain is the medium to keep us alive, even when we're gone. And we're creating the future. We're creating the reality. And like, why we need to depend on any sort of database when the blockchain, like, we want to be there, and as long as one node is running, the blockchain is alive. Yeah. So I think it's very important to like have that possibility to store your art forever. Technically, as long as the blockchain is alive, the art is alive. Yes. And I think one of the inspirations for this was my good friend. He's a software engineer too, and he said like, you know what, I tweet because I want my son to know who I am. I don't know, like, if this is, are you laughing? Yeah, I'm laughing too. I'm just like, when my son started using Twitter, I was like, okay, maybe this is not the best option. But yeah, my friend, I told him like, look, you should be able to store your tweets somewhere safe forever, or just like try to put it on blockchain and like use that tech. And he said like, oh, I'm gonna consider it because yes, if like one day a person in the US will say like, oh, we're shutting down X, yeah. Why we need to lose all the legacy? Because Twitter, everything that we post on social media is our humanity. Is still part of us that we want to showcase. We want to show it, and I think blockchain is the best medium to store that sort of memories, because that's the whole thing that will stay after us just going. I know it's kind of like deep now, but yeah. Yeah, we need to think about it. We need to think what we tweet, because your kid will discover it in like 20 years. Yeah. All right. I think we can wrap up. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, come directly to me. It was a very, very good couple of minutes to share like my stuff with you. Thank you so much.